My name's Alyssa and this is my sugar project. So what is sugar? What's its origin and history? Sugar is a sucrose that is a simple carbohydrate that consists of glucose. Photosynthesis produces sugar in plants. Sugar naturally occurs in fruits and vegetables, and it has existed since the beginning of time. Around the 19th century, sugar became a staple and a means of economic development globally. And since America has used sugar as their economic gain, we've imported it, we've traded it, etc. So what's the issue with sugar now? We're beginning to add sugar to processed foods, and some of these foods include soft drinks, cookies, fruit drinks. So why do we add this sugar? It's to give a better taste and increase the shelf life. And here's some processed foods in the background. So what does sugar do to our bodies? First of all, let's look at how sugar affects the cardiovascular system. So it's recommended by the American Heart Association that people consume less than 10 teaspoons of sugar per day. However, the average adult consumes about 12 more, so about 22 a day. It's shown that there's a correlation between a high sugar diet and heart disease. It's hard to see it directly, but here's an example of an indirect connection. So with the liver, when we eat a lot of sugar and it goes in our body, it goes to the liver. And when the liver's maxed out and overloaded, the liver's going to convert the sugars or carbohydrates to fat. So when you have a greater accumulation of fat, that's going to lead to fatty liver disease. And liver disease, in return, raises the risk for heart disease. In addition, excess sugar can raise blood pressure and increase chronic inflammation, both of which lead to heart disease. So how does sugar affect the nervous system? The brain does need sugar for daily functions. Sugar provides energy and it helps our brains to think and memorize and learn. But the problem comes when we ingest too much sugar. It becomes harmful. For example, excess sugar can lead to diabetes, which will affect the neurons negatively. The neurons in our brain are going to send messages throughout our body, and diabetes is going to affect that. Excess sugar can also cause cognitive impairments. More specifically, it worsens the hippocampal memory function. So, how does sugar affect the digestive system? A high sugar diet can cause high blood sugar, which can in return lead to gastroparesis. So gastroparesis is a disease that affects the digestion of food. Normally, when you're digesting food, your stomach muscles are going to contract and move the food. But with gastroparesis, the stomach muscles don't contract properly, therefore the food is just sitting there, and that can lead to problems. So excess sugar can also lead to diabetes, and diabetes can lead to autonomic neuropathy. Autonomic neuropathy can cause constipation, diarrhea, fecal incontinence, and esophageal dysmotility. Also, a high sugar diet can cause a lengthened gut time. This means that it's taking longer to digest the food moves slower, and in the result, lengthened gut time is going to cause an overproduction of bile, which is unhealthy for our bodies. So what's a sugar-related disease? One of the most common that we see in America is obesity. Obesity can be caused by an excess consumption of sugar. According to data from the National Health and Nutrition Institute Examination Survey, over 1 out of 3 adults are obese. And the problem lies here. Not only is obesity bad within itself, it can cause mental problems and, the weight can bear on your knees and everything like that. But obesity can lead to so many other diseases, and that's why it's so important to prevent it, to prevent other diseases. So, for example, it can lead to high blood pressure, diabetes, coronary heart disease, stroke, gallbladder disease, etc. So here's my food journal. I drank water for the week, so I didn't write that down. The first 2 days, I try to cut carbs out almost completely. I cut them very low. No sugars, no soft drinks, chips, candy, nothing. I didn't have breakfast for the week, but lunch on Sunday I had pork and salad. And this is where I messed up. The first day, I didn't take into consideration that my body was going to need time to adjust to the low carbs, and I didn't eat much that day. So when I ate lunch and then didn't have dinner and then went to work, while I was sweeping, the lack of carbs plus not eating a lot of food caused me to become really weak. So I had a snack at 9. When I got home, I had tuna, protein. The protein was to help me liven up a little and feel better. Monday, I still had low carbs. For lunch, I had chicken, carrots, and cauliflower. For dinner, I had steak and salad. Tuesday and Wednesday is when I decided to bump up my carbohydrate intake to 30. On Tuesday, I had a ham sandwich with broccoli and cheese. For lunch and for dinner, I had grilled chicken and Brussels sprouts. The carbs came mainly from the ham sandwich. Wednesday, I had grilled chicken and Doritos for lunch and pork and Doritos for dinner. The Doritos was the cause of the carbohydrates on that day. Thursday, Friday, and Saturday is when I decided to eat 50 carbs per day. So on Thursday for lunch, I had a ham sandwich and salad, and then for dinner, I had half a ham sandwich and carrots. Friday, I had a turkey sandwich and Doritos for lunch, and then for dinner, I had baked chicken and corn. Then Saturday for lunch, I had ham sandwich and Doritos, and for dinner, I had pork and green beans. So how did this low carb diet make me feel? Like I said, for the first and second day, I was kind of weak and tired. My body was still processing. It was too much to completely cut out. So the third and fourth is when I added in the 30 carbs per day. I began to feel a little more normal. I was still a little groggy, but by the fifth, sixth, and seventh day, I was more energized. I think I found what worked for me. The 50 carbs per day was helping me to stay energized, and I think it was just enough. So what did I substitute in place of sugar? I ate more protein and I ate meals more frequently. That helped me to stay energized and not really think about the sugar as much. Will this low carb diet make it into my life? So this low carb diet, I loved trying it. It did help me lose about 3 pounds in a week, and I do want to utilize it somewhat in my life. I don't think I would be as strict. I would try to do 40 carbs per day maybe and work with that and see how that goes, because I think it would really help with weight loss and give me more energy. So with the Fed Up movie, this is about obesity. It talks about how obesity has become an epidemic and how the government is aiding processed foods. For example, the government finally decided to try to go up against food companies in 1977 with the McGovern report. And this didn't go over well because the report stated that our diets have too much fat and sugar. However, egg, sugar, dairy, and beef associations rejected the report and they wanted a rewrite. So the companies decided to start making food that's low fat to look better on themselves. Well, low fat food doesn't generally taste very good, so they decided to add sugar into it to better the taste, but this came with problems. So what's the issue with excess sugar? Fructose, a part of sugar, can only be processed in the liver. And when the liver is pushed to the max and it's overloaded by sugar, the pancreas steps in and will produce extra insulin. Well, this insulin turns the sugar into fat for storage. So the excess sugar is causing more fat, essentially. The World Health Organization says no more than 10% of our diet should be sugar. And here are a few statistics that I found particularly interesting. 80% of food products have added sugar, and 95% of Americans will be overweight or obese in 2 decades. So here's examples of obesity in children shown in this film. The first, we have Brady. He is from Easley, South Carolina. He weighs 250 pounds at 15-year-old, and he was teased, so he wanted to lose weight. Next, we have Maggie. She was 212 pounds at 12-year-old, and her doctor told her to exercise and diet, but most likely due to the processed foods, this wasn't working for her. She still wasn't losing weight. Then we have Wesley, a 12-year-old who weighs 180 pounds. Once again, he dieted, but still gained weight. Next, we have Joe Lopez, who was 14 years old and weighed almost 400 pounds. Eventually, his condition got so bad that he began to have knee problems, and he eventually had to get surgery. And here's some of them pictured to the right. So the issue with food, with processed food, let me start over. There's an issue with the way food is advertised. As America, we don't have a tendency to advertise healthy food. For example, this McDonald's advertisement looks enticing, and children see this. Everyone sees this, but especially children. And it's unfair to them to compare food and tobacco ads like they did in this movie. They're not much different. Tobacco ads used to target everyone, and they thought tobacco was a big thing then, and then everyone learned that it was bad for you and it's killing people, so they started to take away those ads. And I think that's what eventually should happen with the food ads. We're going to learn as time goes on that it's killing people and that the processed food is just as bad as the tobacco, in my opinion. It's so bad to the extent that some countries even stopped the junk food ads just for the kids. Overall, I really like this movie. I thought it was very interesting, and I haven't really ever looked at it that way. So here's my references, and here's the picture links. Thank you.